The story begins in the polished atrium of a luxury mall, where Isabella Sterling, an heiress with a reputation as cold as her fortune, was being harassed by her ex-boyfriend. In the ensuing argument, a scalding cup of coffee was knocked over, splashing across her one-of-a-kind million-dollar heels. As she stood in stunned silence, a young man appeared before her. He knelt without a word and began gently dabbing the stain on her priceless shoe with the sleeve of his own shirt. The ex-boyfriend's face twisted in rage at the sight, but Isabella was merely intrigued. She offered the young man a date as a reward, but his attention was elsewhere, focused on the designer bags being processed at a nearby counter where he worked. He politely refused, needing to finish his shift. In a move of pure impulse, Isabella pulled out her exclusive black diamond credit card and bought the entire collection. The next day, she arrived at his modest home with a business proposal. Her parents were shocked. Why was their daughter, the heir to the Sterling Empire, suddenly so invested in a commoner? The truth was, Isabella was in a fierce battle for her inheritance. After her parents' messy divorce, her stepbrother, Julian, became her primary competitor. Isabella suspected Julian was involved in a clandestine affair with a famous actress, Clara Vance, potentially leaking company secrets. She needed someone to investigate, someone who could move through the world she couldn't. When she presented her proposition to the young man, he refused. But Isabella said something he couldn't ignore, offering to clear a significant family debt for him. Reluctantly, the man, whose name was Liam, agreed. Their initial interactions were awkward, their worlds colliding as they worked together. Slowly, the professional distance between them began to shrink, and Isabella found her focus on the investigation wavering. It was later revealed that the actress, Clara, had orchestrated the entire situation to distract Isabella from her brother's activities. One afternoon, Isabella walked into a chic cafe to find every single girl staring at one man. It was Liam, now working as a barista. She tried to ignore him, but her bill was discounted twice and a perfect heart was drawn in the foam of her latte. A small, unbidden smile touched her lips. From that day on, Liam seemed to be everywhere. He appeared in front of her at the mall, silently handing her a single red rose before disappearing into the crowd. Isabella was bewildered. Was this some new understated style of flirting? A few days later, a commotion erupted outside her executive office. A delivery boy had bypassed security and was insisting on hand-delivering a letter only to Isabella Sterling, demanding to see her ID for proof. Irritated, Isabella slammed her identification onto the desk. Her anger vanished in an instant when she realized the delivery boy was, of course, Liam. Her suspicion grew. This man was no coincidence. He was a puzzle she couldn't solve. But the truth about Liam was far simpler and more profound. He was working multiple jobs to support his family and save money because his true dream was to become a priest, a life of quiet service. The story of Isabella and Liam, however, was far from over. Isabella's father had married into wealth, a fact that drove him to work relentlessly to prove his worth. This pressure had been passed down to Isabella, a powerful woman in a world of old-fashioned businessmen who judged her for her gender, not her talent. During a tense shareholder meeting, their cheap jokes and dismissive attitude grated on her. Deeply insulted, but unable to retaliate, she channeled her rage into furiously washing her car later that day. And that's when she saw him, Liam. He offered to pay for the car wash, asking only for a coffee in return. At the cafe, Isabella ordered a lavish steak for herself, while Liam just watched. A pang of guilt hit her, and though she didn't share her feelings, she asked him the question that had been burning in her mind. Why do you keep showing up everywhere I go? This series of coincidences was strange to anyone, but Liam's path was driven by a single goal. His dream of becoming a priest was like choosing to be a hermit in the modern world. His mother vehemently disagreed, leading to a massive fight that ended with Liam leaving home, determined to secure his family's financial future before dedicating his life to the church. Meanwhile, Isabella, for all her wealth, was careless with her own life. Her luxurious mansion was in a state of chaos. Overwhelmed by the mess, she called a premium cleaning service, demanding they send a team of 10. To her shock, only one cleaner arrived, a very strong and capable young man. It was Liam. He had no idea the disastrous house belonged to her. Seeing the room, he muttered, "Now I understand why the client asked for a powerful cleaner." He began to work, and Isabella was mesmerized by his efficiency and organizational skills. After the house was spotless, as Liam was about to leave, he noticed a flickering chandelier. Thinking to help, he made one small misstep. The entire fixture crashed to the floor, shattering into a million pieces. Liam stood in shock. This was an ultra-luxury chandelier. How much could it possibly cost? When Isabella returned, the smallness of the world was proven once again. The chandelier Liam had broken was worth $500,000. Liam insisted he would repay the debt by working for her, but Isabella refused, demanding the money directly. But Liam was adamant, promising to come every day and work as her housekeeper until the debt was cleared. Isabella was hesitant about hiring a man for the role, but Liam casually mentioned his impending priesthood and his complete disinterest in women. Reassured, and thinking of her now pristine house and busy schedule, she agreed. The next day they went grocery shopping. To any onlooker, they looked less like employer and employee and more like a young couple. Soon, Liam was stopped by a former colleague, and Isabella began to realize just how many different jobs this man had held. Her curiosity about him grew. That day, another high-level business meeting devolved into the same old sexism. The shareholders wouldn't even let her serve drinks, claiming it wasn't a woman's place. Hurt and furious, she left. These men had forgotten about Julian. Though he and Isabella were rivals, he wouldn't tolerate anyone insulting his sister. The next day, he personally warned the shareholders, respect Isabella or find another company to work for. That night, he crashed another one of their private gatherings and reiterated his threat, leaving them stunned by his cold fury. When Isabella arrived home exhausted and emotionally drained, her handsome housekeeper, Liam, immediately went into help mode. Just then, the doorbell rang. It was Julian. Panicked, she shoved Liam into her bedroom to hide. Julian would never understand, but a small puppy Liam had been caring for let out a sharp bark. Julian knew everything, but he simply smiled. "I should probably check inside," he said teasingly. Seeing his sister's terrified face, he chuckled and left. After he was gone, Liam emerged, apologizing profusely. He handed her a beautifully wrapped box of chocolates. The house, once cold and empty, now felt alive. Liam not only organized her home, but also her life. Isabella found herself sharing all her business frustrations with him, trusting him completely. But one day, a seed of doubt was planted. "Do you have another agenda?" she asked him directly. "Yes," he replied without hesitation. "I want your money." Seeing her shocked face, he explained he was a church volunteer and his dream was to inspire her to use her wealth to help those in need. Isabella laughed, a genuine hearty laugh. "If you want me to donate, you'll have to give me one of your smiles. I like your smile." Liam gave her a charming, boyish grin, and just like that, Isabella's heart melted. The next day, a donation of $100,000 was made to the church. Liam's mentor at the church was amazed, telling him his smile was a special gift to be used wisely. From then on, their playful bargain continued. A smile from Liam would result in new gifts arriving at the church, first food and supplies, then laptops and smartphones. Through this process, the biggest change occurred in Isabella. The Ice Queen began to thaw, replaced by a warm, bubbly young woman. Her queen-like authority remained, but it was now tempered with a newfound innocence. One day, Liam's puppy darted out of the house. Isabella and Liam chased it to the gate, where they ran straight into Clara Vance, the actress. The atmosphere grew thick with tension. Seeing Liam living in Isabella's house, Clara immediately jumped to the wrong conclusion. Before Isabella could explain, Liam pulled her back inside, leaving her shocked. Then he delivered another blow. He confessed that the chandelier wasn't nearly as expensive as he had claimed. He had saved enough money. He handed her an envelope of cash, gave her a final gift, and officially said goodbye. 1,000 emotions swirled inside Isabella. but she had no reason to make him stay. Then, for the first time in her life, Isabella Sterling, a woman who never showed vulnerability, asked an unexpected question to a man 12 years her junior. On her birthday, her father sent a calendula plant with a note that said its meaning was, "Happiness will come." This small gesture warmed her heart. The next day was a family gathering, and she assumed it was for her birthday. Her mood soured when she saw Clara Vance was there. The celebration, it turned out, was for Julian and his girlfriend. However, Julian then presented her with a personal gift. He hadn't forgotten. After the party, Clara stopped her. The misunderstanding about Liam still hung between them, but her words cut deep, confirming Isabella's feelings of being an outsider in her own family. As if needing an excuse, Isabella immediately called Liam. She told him he was at work. She made another call.
A few minutes later, a girl approached Liam at his job. "Your boss is here for you." The girl then announced that the owner had just sold the shop and it was closing for the day. Sitting across from her at a lavish dinner, Liam assumed Isabella was upset about the old businessman again, but she explained it was her family this time. "My birthday party wasn't for me at all." Liam said nervously, "I saw your ID. Your birthday isn't today." "My real birthday is different from the one on my official documents," she clarified. Liam kept this in mind. That evening, as Isabella left her office, he was waiting outside with a small birthday cake, its candle flickering in the twilight. He wanted to make up for the celebration she never had. Seeing him there, so earnest and kind, she felt a warmth spread through her chest. "I received a flower on my birthday," she said softly. "Its meaning was, 'Happiness will come.'" Liam's expression became complicated. Isabella took a deep breath, feeling she understood his inner conflict. Without another word, she turned and walked away, leaving him standing alone, holding the cake. Back in her office, Isabella didn't rage or cry. She clasped her hands and prayed, as if wishing for him to return. Liam, confused by her rejection, couldn't get her words out of his head. Passing a flower shop, he went inside. "Which flower means happiness will come?" he asked. The florist showed him a bright orange calendula. "It has another meaning, too," the florist added. "Compassionate love and the sadness of separation." At that exact moment, Isabella was staring at the same flower in her office, reading the very same meaning online. A few days later, Liam came to see her again, holding a bouquet of those same golden flowers. He extended them towards her. Her heart instantly turned to ash. His kindness, his gesture of separation, was more painful than anything else. She turned to leave, but Liam said something that made her stop. She gave him a deep, searching look and replied, walking away. Liam was still confused, but he knew his feelings for her had changed, creating a hurdle he was determined to cross himself. An unexpected guest arrived at Isabella's office, Damien Thorne. He was returning to his home country, but first he had come to deliver a message. Isabella knew Damien was her father's choice for her husband, a strategic alliance to strengthen her position against Julian. The marriage was a business deal, but now, with Liam in her life, she was torn. Refuse the marriage and lose the inheritance fight, or accept and lose Liam forever? Looking at the calendula flower, she found her courage. She called Liam. He was at the church, confessing his conflicted feelings to his mentor. "Perhaps if you wear the priest's robes, you will find your answer," the priest advised. As Liam, clad in the simple black robe, descended the church steps, he saw Isabella waiting. Her heart softened, thinking he had made his final decision. Tears welled in her eyes as he approached. Liam realized she had misunderstood, but she wouldn't listen. He followed her home. "I know you're engaged," he said, trying to explain, "to Damien Thorne." Just then, Damien himself walked in, his arrogant demeanor filling the room. He was her fiancé, and his presence was a reminder that to him she was just a transaction. Seeing that it wasn't the time to talk, Isabella told Liam to leave. Damien then revealed his trump card, medical records proving that Julian suffered from severe face blindness following an accident. It was a fatal flaw she could use to destroy her brother's career. But when Isabella held that power in her hands, her heart cleared. This wasn't who she wanted to be. She took a stand, confronting Damien and changing her stance in both her business and personal life. Enraged by her defiance, Damien threw a wad of cash on the street, a gesture of contempt that solidified her hatred for him. At that moment, Isabella made a decision. She invited Liam out. As they browsed a street market, her heart, once a chaotic mix of old and new, began to settle. Believing he was still committed to the priesthood, she tried to act casual. "I'm a bad, fake person. I just want us to remain friends." Liam simply smiled, and she found herself lost in his gaze. The next day, at a family banquet, Isabella made her announcement. She was breaking her engagement to Damien Thorne because she did not love him. Her father, seeing her genuine resolve, supported her. Julian already knew his sister's decision was about more than just Damien. It was about her choosing her own path. For the first time, as they left the dinner, Isabella genuinely called out to her brother, expressing her desire for peace. She no longer needed to fight him for the inheritance. She had found something more valuable. When Damien learned the wedding was off, he stormed into Isabella's office, threatening her. But she stood her ground, calm and resolute. He left, defeated. Isabella looked over at Liam, who was quietly watching, his own decision now firm. A smile graced her face. Her choice was the right one. Liam went home and finally spoke to his family. The parents who had once opposed his dream now supported his choice to become a priest, which he found strangely unsettling. His sister, however, saw through it all. "Are you in a relationship?" she pried. Just then, a luxury car pulled up. Isabella stepped out, looking radiant. "Wow," her sister whispered. "You chose a beautiful girl for yourself." In the car, they made their relationship official. At dinner, they discussed the future. Liam confessed that since he was no longer becoming a priest, he was thinking about another job. When he mentioned becoming a judge, Isabella was shocked. The judicial exams were notoriously difficult. Liam smiled. "I graduated from the law department at Seoul University. It's feasible." Suddenly, everything clicked into place. This was why his family was so against him becoming a priest. It wasn't just a career change, it was the abandonment of a brilliant future. After dinner, as they stood outside his home, Isabella teased him. "You haven't paid your car fare." Confused for a moment, he finally understood and leaned in to give her a gentle kiss. The next day, picking Liam up from the university library, a jealous classmate made a snide remark. Isabella noticed a flicker of possessiveness in Liam's eyes, a look she had never seen before. Realizing their relationship needed space to breathe outside their complicated bubble, she decided to take a day off and visit his family. She walked into their home and told their parents they needed to discuss their children's future. With the pressure between their families addressed first, their own relationship blossomed, free from fear and uncertainty. They started building their own world, together, ready to face whatever came next. And with that, their true story began.